Awakening Your Everyday Wisdom. Video number 5, Conspiracy Theories. What should we listen to and what should we ignore? There's a lot of information out there, and there's disinformation, misinformation, and fake news. So how do we know what to believe? Well, actually you do know. And I'm going to give you some tools and tips on how to access your everyday wisdom, how to sort through all this information and determine what affects you and what doesn't. Before we get started, I'll introduce myself. If you want to know more about me, there's a long introduction on my channel, but basically I'm a light worker and a seeker. And this video is designed to support you in your awakening process. Let's start with a definition from Merriam-Webster. A conspiracy theory is a theory that explains an event or set of circumstances as a result of a secret plot by usually very powerful conspirators. There may be some things that are being called a conspiracy theory today that are really somebody's opinion, but most of them that I've come across have a lot of facts associated with them. So that's the interesting part, how to sort through those facts. There's also some information, I'll put the link in the references at the end of the video, on characteristics of a conspiracy theorist and also people who believe conspiracy theories. So one of them is that they have a sense of uncertainty about themselves, and they feel isolated, and they want to belong to something bigger than themselves. So this is the idea of joining the bandwagon. Now, I don't know if these characteristics are accurate or not, but I also read another characteristic that says conspiracy theorists and those who believe the theories are people who have a genuine concern for the future of humanity. And I can align with that one because that's where I'm coming from. I have a genuine concern for our future. So I think it's a really good idea for all of us to question why we think what we think and why we believe what we believe. And really look into it. Is there something in our personality that has us attracted to conspiracy theories? Or is there something that causes us to reject them right out of the box? So really looking at our own mechanism for deciding what to listen to and what not to listen to. That's our inherent challenge in life, actually. After we get out of the house and we're on our own, that's our big challenge for the rest of our time on the planet. But because we have infinite minds, and some of these concepts that we're grappling with are very complex, have deep, deep roots and long entrails, and it's going to be hard for us sometimes to grab all of it. Let's not worry about the stuff that's too big for us to get our arms around. Let's look more at how it affects our everyday life and our everyday wisdom. So the challenge is knowing what's too big to deal with and what's in the realm of doability. So the basic concept behind conspiracy theories that I've been able to discern is that there's an effort to dumb down humanity. And a lot of different tactics are being used to that end. Now, why should humanity be dumbed down? It seems like people are really brilliant and the kids coming into life these days are so darn smart. Why would we want to dumb that down? Well, the theorists say that it's to give control to people over the masses. So a small percentage of people being able to run the world. Well, is that true or isn't it? We've heard of the cabal, the Illuminati. Who knows, really? The idea here is to have you in control of you. And that's where we're headed. So, I wasn't really very concerned about the conspiracy theories that started popping up when I was a teenager, when JFK got killed. I'm like, well, was that the act of an individual, a deranged person, or was there a deeper, sinister plot behind all of that? I couldn't really be bothered with it at the time. I was in grief about the shooting. And then when we landed on the moon in, what was that, 1969 or something, I thought we really did land on the moon, so I couldn't pay attention to the theories saying, oh, it was just a hoax. Why would we go through such an elaborate hoax? I don't know. But I believe that we did land on the moon, so I didn't pay any attention to that one either. And there are other ones that came and went, and I was like, well. I started getting my attention in September of 2017. I watched a video called What the Health? Now, I started off thinking it was all about health practices, and it was, but it uncovered a tremendous amount of information that I did not know about the destruction of our natural food processing. And I actually wanted to turn this off. I was just getting so upset by it. But I decided to listen. Something inside me, my everyday wisdom said, you have to pay attention to this. So I did, against another part of my will. That video was the beginning of my true awakening. And I'll share with you some of the concepts and information that was being presented. So here are a few points made in this video. The American Cancer Society encourages eating processed turkey and canned meats. There's a lot of stuff in those products. Why would they encourage that? I'm not sure. But in the United States, 1 out of every 4 deaths is from cancer. And 2/3 of the adults are either obese or overweight. 70% of deaths and morbidity are largely lifestyle related and preventable. Take a look, 70% are preventable. That puts a lot of responsibility on us as the individual. Most kids by the age of 10 in the United States have fatty streaks in their arteries by the age of 10. In the next 25 years, 1 out of every 3 Americans will have diabetes. And this was several years ago that this was recorded, so the countdown is on. Are you going to be one of those adults with diabetes? And diabetes is not caused by eating a high carbohydrate diet or sugar. So what is it caused by? We need to look into that a little bit more. So there you go. Those are some of the facts. There are lots of, this is like, you could see these are only a few of the salient facts that I pulled out. There's a lot of information. There's also another video called Food Inc. I'll put the link in the references that has some similar and maybe some more detailed information. So let's get back to our talk here. That was my awakening. You may have had another awakening from a different conspiracy theory or an event in your own life. Who knows? Sometimes our wake-up calls are what make the difference between being asleep and being awake. And some of those can be painful, I know. There was another crisis when I was a teenager, and that was the gas shortage in the 70s. I think it was 1973. So back then, there was a lot of information that we were running out of gas, and gas had to be rationed. There were huge lines of people, wrapped around a city block, waiting to get into the gas station on their day. You could only go on certain days based on I think it was the first letter of your last name. I don't know, it was a crazy situation. People even got killed by trying to butt in the gas line. There were lots of fights. Really, humanity devolved. And I look back at that and go, gee, 50 years later, I'm still able to drive my car. I can get gas at a fairly reasonable price, and I don't have to fight anybody. What was that all about? Don't we have to question these things? I mean, really, if humanity can be put into hysteria by information that doesn't seem to be true today, makes us wonder. So let's take a look at some other conspiracy theories. Now, there are a lot of them. Let me reach over here and get my little document. I say little, it's 39 pages long. This is a list of conspiracy theories that's on Wikipedia. I've got the link in the references. On and on and on it goes. This is huge. All kinds of stuff in many, many arenas. And it's got a huge reference list back here too. So what do we do with this? Well, I have some recommendations coming up. I am really big on analytics. I like us to use analytic tools to help us sort through our everyday wisdom. So I've got a little tool here for you, and it's on my website if you want to print it out. This is basically a matrix. And the way it works is, if you look through this list of conspiracy theories or ones that you've been thinking about, just kind of list them on the corner here, the left side, and then these are the questions. Is there sufficient and scientific data to back up this theory? Does the data seem plausible? That's where you start asking your own wisdom. And then you look at your responses on an emotional level. How strong is it? For example, I've come across a few theories and I go, that's absurd. I will have nothing to do with that. So I know it's off my list, right? That's my inner wisdom telling me to move on. Do you have a desire to learn more? That's a very big clue. Because if you have no interest, ignore it. It's not for you. But if there's something inside you, like when I was watching What the Hell, something kept telling me, you gotta listen, you gotta listen. Obey your inner guidance on those things because it will help you sort through in the end. And do you have a desire to take action? That's another big one. If you want to do something about a situation, it is definitely for you. So then you score, all of these are on a 1 to 10 scale. You add up your score, and then you could tell which conspiracy theories are really ones that you need to delve into. And there might not be any, so it's up to you. But at least you don't have to be plagued by all this information coming at you from many angles. Let's take a look at a few of the theories that are popping up these days. Now, a very central core of value of our country and a lot of places in the world is education. Now, the conspiracy theorists are saying that our education system is being corrupted, that there is a move to keep people from being able to think on their own. So we reward them if they get the right answer, and we punish them if they fail to extract the same meaning out of information that the powers want us to extract. So there's this little theory that we're already being controlled. So the other side of this theory is that kids are being taught to develop their left side of their brain, the logical side, versus the right side, the creative, responsive, intuitive side. And the way that's happening is young kids, even starting in kindergarten, are being taught to read, write, do arithmetic, follow the rules, get the right answer. And they're not being given time to sing and dance and play and draw pictures. So the reason the theorists say this is happening is so that we can be manipulated and controlled by logic and data. and we won't have a way to access our everyday wisdom if we can't access the right side of our brain. So that's a big theory. Is it true? Well, you do have to question, why don't kids get to play very much anymore? So let's go on a little bit about some other theories. There's a whole lot about UFOs and aliens. I've mentioned this in video number 1, but really, I mean, are we being kept away from true information about UFO activity and aliens on our planet? And then I have to question, well, why are we spending 60 years and millions and maybe billions of dollars trying to get a signal from outer space that indicates we're not alone? Why don't we just look around, all the UFOs flying around? It seems logical to me. But we're also being told UFOs aren't real. So what's the truth? You'll have to look into that yourself. I think they're true because I had an experience when I was a teenager myself. I saw something and terrified me and my girlfriend. We actually drew pictures of it. We told my mom all about it the next day. This happened in the wee hours. And my mom saw an AP, what is that called? Where it goes out to all the news sources, information, that there were multiple sightings in 4 different states of the exact same thing that I saw. And yet I was told it was swamp gas and not to pay attention to it, so I ignored it. But now I'm looking back going, geez, did I really have a sighting? I don't know. So let's also take a look at things like chemtrails. Oh, are they real? Is the government really trying to dumb us down by putting chemicals in the air that keep us from being able to access our everyday wisdom? Well, I certainly don't want to believe that. And I resist believing that. But my friend who told me about chemtrails pointed up in the sky, and here are all these big X's. Now, it's not just the ones that go straight across like your normal contrail. These are big X's in the sky. And that's a pattern where they apparently are distributing this chemical. All right, so I grappled with that, and then I came across a video that actually showed an airplane full of tanks of chemicals that were designed to be released in the chemtrails. Now, some have said, oh, they're seeding the clouds to try to control the weather. Well, maybe, if that's true, why don't we know a whole lot of information about it? Why is it held in secrecy? And then I saw a video, the confessions of a dying pilot. And he had nothing to lose. He was on his deathbed. He didn't have anything to lose. And he said, yes, indeed, they are putting chemicals in the air. Oh boy, do you believe this guy? Did he get a lot of money to say that, to pass on to his kids? We don't know for sure. But chemtrails is another one of those interesting theories that may or may not be true. If it's true, God help us all, really. If we're dumbing down the kids, if we're poisoning the population so we can't think well, if we're being bombarded by wrong facts, if true facts are being concealed from us, what the heck? That's what I say. All right, so I was challenged with all of this, and I thought I would turn to the Bible. Now, I'm not a Bible scholar, and I can't really tell you that I found this in context, so I'm going to just read a verse to you that I found that actually gave me a little peace of mind. And this is Isaiah 8:12. Do not call conspiracy everything this people calls a conspiracy. Do not fear what they fear, and do not dread it. The Lord Almighty is the one you are to regard as holy. So when I read that, a sense of peace came over me, that I don't have to be ruled by fear, because that's what a lot of these conspiracy theories have triggered inside of me. And so if I can keep my thoughts on the divine, keep myself out of fear, I think I'll do a lot better. So, the key, refrain from fear and panic. You know? But listen to the parts of you that call you to action on your little evaluation, however you evaluate what to respond to and what not to. If it calls you to action, listen to that. That is a call, I would think, from your higher wisdom. So in the next video, part B, I'm going to share some possible actions that you could take and some ways to keep yourself balanced, to keep yourself out of fear. And then I'll also share some affirmations and messages. So thank you for listening to this part of the video. And if you want to hear some of the how-tos and what to do, please listen to part B. Thank you.